of casual discussions with the boys.
This is it.
What's our timeline?
No telling. He has the power in space stones. That already makes him the strongest creature in the whole universe. If he gets his hands on all 6 stones, Tony.
You could destroy life on a scale hitherto undreamt of.
Did you seriously just say hitherto undreamt
Are you
of?
seriously leaning on the cauldron of the cosmos?
Is that what it?
Oh, okay. Compose yourself.
How do we get on these topics?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Casual Discussions with the boys.
With the boys.
At this point, I've lost what episode we're up to. Just the old age memory, which is an ongoing joke we've been talking about in the group chat. But nonetheless, this is an episode that we've been anticipating like real hard. And I think it fits well for this movie because it was one that was built up with high anticipation for like 10 years. 10 years of build up heading into this movie. And well, if you haven't seen the title already, it's Avengers Infinity War. Yeah. All right. Like, what a moment it was with the boys to watch this at the movies. Unfortunately, as you can see here, not all the boys are here. The other two were unfortunately snapped and caught up in the blip, so we'll try to bring him back by Endgame.
That's brilliant.
Anyways, so we'll jump straight into it since I know how excited we are for this movie. The first segment was Out of the Cave. So coming out of the movies, what did you think? Malik is kind of first on my screen, so I'll go with you.
First thoughts on Infinity War. I think everyone was in the same boat. It was a shock. Everyone was just quite trying to digest the past 2 hours or 2.5 hours of what we'd watched. It was power on a scale that we hadn't seen before. In Marvel, really. The action was awesome. The amount of characters as well. We were promised that, like, leading up to it, all the rumors that this person's going to be in it and that person's going to be in it. And we all thought, oh, maybe they will, maybe they won't. But then it was one of those ones where it was like, imagine if they trolled everyone and ended the MCU on that movie. Like, you walked out. You're like, imagine if that was it. Like,
no way.
Ultimate rape.
Yeah, where the villain wins. And it was the first time seeing that. Like, we all knew there was going to be a second movie, but actually seeing that Thanos got to that point, I don't think anyone expected it. And so it's one of the Marvel movies that had the biggest shock value. I'm pretty sure everyone was quiet for about 20 minutes after it.
Quiet during the whole movie.
Yeah, because it was just scene after scene. Like, we got introductions to the Black League. Is that what they're called?
There are 2 more stones on
Black Order.
Yeah, the Black Order. His little minions.
Find them, Mike. Bring them to
Black
me.
League. What are you talking about? Justice League.
When you say little minions, I'm just thinking of the minions from Despicable Me.
Like the Justice League full of Black Adam.
Yeah.
Full of Black Panther.
And it was like, my first thought when I saw them was, imagine if he'd sent them earlier in the saga.
Yeah.
Like, it would have finished in about 5 movies. Every time there was one that had an Infinity Stone, they would have won.
Is that all you had, Malika?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up for me.
All right.
Good soundtrack as well. I just forgot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that was Silvestri.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alan.
Good job.
Old mate Alan.
Al.
Silvestri. All right.
I love Sylvester.
Sylvester.
Al
This isn't Guardians 2 again.
Yeah. We'll leave him out of this. Okay, so I remember walking out of the cinema, actually. I can't remember who I was next to, but I was literally like, I need a drink. Like, I needed a drink. I needed something stiff. That sounds so bad. I needed a stiff drink. He was next to me. I needed a stiff drink. That's why I felt that way. No, I just remember because we knew, well, we sort of knew that it wasn't going to end well, but no one really knew it was going to end like that. Like that was like in your head, you knew they were going to come back, whatever, but it was still shit. Like who's not going to come back? Who are they going to kill? You just had no idea at all. Like, and yeah, I just remember there's so many good scenes in this film. Like, so the characters are great, of course, the story is great, but just the number of epic moments were more than any other film we've seen before. And no matter what, I remember sitting there, I was literally on the edge of my seat the whole film. Like I barely ate my popcorn, which is a first for me. Like sometimes because I couldn't take my eyes off the screen, other times because it was too quiet and I didn't want to chew in front of everyone. So, but yeah, I 100%.
Stopped you before.
Yeah, well, listen, this movie stopped me, all right? But yeah, so yeah, basically amazing. I remember being, as I think Mark said, shocked. Like everyone was just in shock. And obviously when you're sort of seeing it with all the lads that you've watched all these other films with and seeing them shocked as well, it's like you literally just watched like family members and friends pass away, literally. Like that's how it felt.
Yeah,
like,
it's special.
Yeah, it was full on. That's it.
Yeah, all right. So me, yeah, definitely. It's hard to explain the feeling coming out of that movie. It's like it's never happened again. Like I guess like back in the day, years ago, it probably would have been comparable to Star Wars Episode 5, like the whole ending where it hasn't been resolved. Like there's still a problem at the end, and like the bad guys kind of won. It's that kind of deal. But like we didn't get to experience that. We experienced Avengers Infinity War. And yeah, to come out of the movie just essentially speechless, just really just trying to process. And it's pretty hard nowadays to make a movie where every single moment keeps you engaged. Like I didn't get bored once. I don't even think I yawned. I probably blinked. I don't know. My eyes were hurting afterwards. But yeah, like it's pretty hard. It's hard nowadays to have a movie with like such good flow and such engaging storyline with this like so many characters as well, and to keep us all interested and engaged. Yeah, it's just Grant says it all the time. It's kind of a shame we'll never get something like this again. Which you know, I hope we do, but it's hard to see it, especially at this early phase of this new MCU, wherever they're going. But yeah, that's my feels. We'll get into the specifics in the other segments. So yeah. All right, David.
And on to the next segment.
Out of the cave for you, David.
I don't know what all the hype is about. No, yeah, I remember this was a big one for us, for everyone. This was another one I didn't see with the boys. Sorry, guys. But yeah, but I do remember seeing it, and like sorry, Greg just rocks.
Don't get you started on the Endgame fiasco. We'll sort that out later.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in Endgame. But what I do remember was, unfortunately, the famous scene with Spider-Man was ruined for me because someone in the crowd decided it would be funny to be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so sad, isn't it?" And just screaming that. And unfortunately, that sort of ruined that scene for me. But look, pretty much everything has been said how I feel. But I do remember this is probably the only time this has happened where, like you said, the movie finished, everyone just got up, walked out, and I think like I walked with a friend of mine up to the car, and you're seeing everyone just disperse to their cars. No one's talking, everyone's silent. I get in the car, I'm driving away, and then finally me and my friend, we decide to talk about it, but it was like, so that happened. Like it
was like leaving a funeral.
Yeah. It was such a strange experience. But yeah, and it's funny because something like that, and this is what's so amazing about it, is like I think if you saw that in any other film, you'd be like, oh yeah, like you know, if you saw it in like the X-Men series or like some other action movie. But the fact there's been so much build up, you felt it. You felt it in that moment. And I'll talk more about it later, but honestly, I was surprised what they did with Thanos in this movie because yeah, it was just like I was not. For me, having seen him in the previous ones, I was like, this guy's just going to be a CGI baddie. Like, I'm not going to be too keen for him because there's nothing really humane that's coming from him. And then I see this movie, I'm like, this is a top villain. This guy has pulled it through. So we'll go more into that, but they're my initial thoughts.
All right. Well, moving on to the next bit. If this movie be worthy parts of the movie, positives. I'll kick it off. I pretty much said it already in regards to the flow of the movie. Flowed really well. I think, again, scene after scene, we're jumping place to place, character to character. Everything was like really kept you engaged. But like, what served well, like what kept us in that and not getting bored or anything and not having to dive too deep into characters was the fact that we've had 10 years worth of movies already prior to set up a lot of this. So that served well for them, and it made it easier in this movie to just like, here's the Guardians, you know what they're about. Let's just carry on. And just the interactions between different groups, different people was great. Like banter between Tony Stark, pretty much Tony Stark and everyone. He was just such a jerk to Doctor Strange. He's a jerk to Star-Lord.
By the way,
He was
that's a
hilarious every
compliment.
bit.
Don't forget,
And he's a bit of a
I'm
jerk to
human.
Spider-Man
What's that
even.
50% of me that's stupid?
I just love it. It's
That's 100%.
it's carrying on. It's like it's just him. It's his character. It's carrying on from Avengers, but at the end of the day, they're doing what they need to do. But it's like it's so entertaining, and dialogue was great. Everything Thanos said was like really profound, and even though we're not necessarily agreeing with the things he says, he's convincing. Like he convinces you that he can do what he needs to do. So to have a villain who's that strong and a completely different direction towards what they started with, like some crazy dude on a chair that Malika loves, somewhere in Guardians, is like, it's like, I'm glad they went the direction they did because we were able to connect to him more. He was essentially a villain I don't think I've ever seen before. And I think I've heard someone say that this movie is essentially a Thanos origin movie, which I'm okay with. Like, I really enjoyed his arc. I would like to know more about him, but like what we got and the setup leading towards was enough. Other positives, I just like that. I left the movie feeling speechless and I had to watch it again and again just because so the second time I could enjoy and the third time I could like recognize Easter eggs and see where the story was going and stuff. But yeah, those are my positives. David, we'll pass it off to you or your worthy bits.
So basically pretty much most scenes with Thanos was definitely my worthy bits. Like even the way the film starts, like leading off Thor Ragnarok to this, and I love it how it's just that eerie. Like you hear the distress signal, and like it felt like a space horror for a few seconds, and you really felt what had happened. And then the minute Thanos gets on the screen, you feel his presence, and you feel the threat he's going to be. But then there is another scene where it's like you see this man who's acting as a gentle father to a child, and yet while in the background there are horrible things happening based on his act, he's still showing this gentleness, yet describing something that represents a horror he's going to commit in the future to humanity. Like it's such a weird mix with him, but it works perfectly. And of just like this megalomaniac who believes in something that he sees as pure, that is understandable, and I guess is aiming to achieve a goal that could benefit, but at the same time can cause so much pain. There's just such a complexity to it, and I think that's why I really like Thanos. And also, I think like in the past, I've always been a bit on the fence with Josh Brolin as an actor. But honestly, after this, I became a big fan. Like, if a movie's coming out with Josh Brolin, I'll go and see it because he's just really able to bring such a gravitas to the role. I enjoy the fact that this film that it's very fast paced, but it doesn't skip over very important growth and character dialogue, and like the interactions are really done well. And like, look, there are complaints about how all the Avengers aren't together and all that, but let's be honest, it's really hard to pull off something like that. It's really hard to pull off like a film where everyone's together, like the amount of characters they have, and yet do all the characters justice. So I think that's definitely a positive. The comedic bits really worked. What else would I say? Yeah, like I think it's already been mentioned, but the whole storyline behind Tony, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man, I really think they really nailed that very well. The interactions there, and you're seeing like the result of it. Like the next Spider-Man film will have Doctor Strange in it, which I'm super excited for. And I saw that. I was surprised they didn't do that earlier, because coming from Infinity War, I was like, yeah, I can see a chemistry there. This will work. So those are definitely positives from the movie.
I think, yeah, in regards to the humor, it was definitely good that, because it's quite a heavy movie in a sense. So it was good to have that balance and kind of lighthearted moments to kind of, I know it's like them trying to appeal to all audiences and keep you in, but like having that, those like moments of humor kind of like gave us a moment to relax, catch our breath, and then come back to the heavier parts. But yeah, so many entertaining moments, and I actually didn't really talk about it, but maybe one of the other guys will, in regards to all the fights that we had, all the different matchups. Starting off with Thanos and taking out like one of the most powerful races from the beginning, the Asgardians, Thor, Hulk, and Loki, is like that's huge, and just showcases how powerful Thanos is from the get-go. But yeah, I won't go too far into it in case one of the other guys mentions it. So, Grant, worthy moments.
Like, David did so well. Like, not a joke. Like, it's so shit to follow that up, because he literally covered everything. Like, but I will say, this was the first film in Marvel that I actually thought, shit, the villain is in control. The villain is more powerful than all of them. I've never felt that way before. I've always thought, yeah, he's powerful, you know, whatever, but they'll get him. But I actually thought, I don't know where they're going with this. He's literally throwing the Hulk around like a puppet. He's got Thor tied up in chains. Like, the two most powerful Avengers, in my opinion, were just taken down by him in terms of strength.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just thought, and just watching, and I know it's acting, I know it's all that, but just seeing the reactions to everyone who first sees him and first even hears his name or whatever is amazing, because you feel like you're in the moment. But as a film, I think I can't really go too much more into it than you guys have. But yeah, I just think it's exceeded my expectations by a long shot.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
legit.
so true, yeah.
Like, obviously, yeah, they had 10 years of feeling inside of you as a person wanting this to be the best ending to that, and it just lived up to it times 10. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's been a while since I've gone into a movie with high expectations, and then it's exceeded my already high expectations. So yeah, it's actually like a pretty good point, because yeah, we had no idea where they were going to go. I mean, we had some idea, but we didn't know how they'd finish it or end it or whatever. But yeah,
well, they say you can't go wrong with all those actors and heroes, but you can.
yeah, there's
You know. So you
yeah, that's true. All right, Malika.
Oh
Malika.
Malika.
Mark Malikas.
Following on from you boys,
We're done now. We got our.
it was a very good balancing act that the Marvel, like the directors and that, did for this movie. Like,
yes, Zeta.
never have we.
You beat me by 1 second.
Like, it was there's very few movies that have had this many big names in them. And it's handled so well. And like, even as real actors, and then their characters, the amount of egos in this movie, and like you were saying, Zeta, like Tony Stark, and then you've got someone like Doctor Strange in there, and you've got Star-Lord, you've got Thor, you've got all these big egos in there, and they just bounced off each other. Like there were no, they didn't really do that cliche where there's the infighting and all of that. Like everything just worked, and they were able to bounce off each other. Probably one of my favorite things in this movie is the whole Wakanda section, all the scenes. Probably
True.
one of my favorite scenes in the whole MCU is just when they start the charge, and you've got Captain America and Black Panther outrunning everyone, and it's just like they just jump straight into the to the aliens. Like that scene was amazing.
Alpha Man.
So hype. I wanted to run as well.
Yeah. That was you and I charging down.
It's like, it's like, Bombay! And it's like, everyone just charges down. And then we can't forget Thor's landing into Wakanda.
Epic.
Oh,
that's right up there. And then you just got Groot and freaking Raccoon spinning around shooting all these aliens. Like that whole just section of Wakanda brings some of the greatest scenes, dialogue, everything from the MCU. It was just like a culmination of 10 years all coming together. You've always pretty much covered off everything else that was great about this movie.
Yeah. The war scene was definitely, I don't know, I feel like, I mean, obviously Endgame has, I find it hard to choose a favorite between the two. Sometimes I like the Endgame one more, but it's mainly because of Cap's part with Mjolnir. It does have moments too, but like, I don't know, in regards to the massive war, sometimes I like the Infinity one better. Sometimes I like the Endgame one better. I was about to choose one, but I just realized I can't.
You're choosing battles.
Yeah.
I compare how I felt when I first watched the Lord of the Rings 3 when Rohan came.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, everyone's here, that's sick. Like, that's similar feeling. That real epic moment where you know shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings just edges it out there.
Yeah, well.
The Rohan charge down as Gandalf comes over the horizon is just amazing.
Oh, God.
Gonna have to edit that out.
Not a very good endorsement, Mark. Cheers. Yeah, anyway.
There probably is more, but...
One thing I forgot to mention. Sorry, Grant, do you want to talk?
No, go for it, bro.
Oh, thanks, Grant.
Oh.
Yeah, how you doing? No, I ain't get sidetracked. Yeah, we'll talk later. Look, I spoke a lot about in Thor Ragnarok about Thor's arc. I really think they do a fantastic job with his arc in this film. Like, it's a bit of a comedy scene, but it's also a very deep scene when he's talking to Rocket Raccoon and they're going through everyone in his family. He's like, oh yeah, this one stabbed through the heart. This one, this happened, that happened. And again, when I was talking in Thor Ragnarok about the myth, you know, underlining the myth, I love it when, you know, when he says to Rocket, says, oh, Thanos hasn't faced me. He says, yeah, he has. He says, oh, he hasn't faced me twice. And remember, I'm getting a new hammer.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, he's just holding on to this thing. And then Rocket Raccoon says, well, what happens if it all goes wrong? It's like, well, if I'm wrong, what else do I have to lose? And that's when you see the tragedy of the character of just like, yeah, he's holding on to this myth of I'm this great hero, but under it all, it's like, without this, I got nothing. And like, you will see what happens in Endgame from this, but it's just interesting to see that this is his last stand of, I need to be the great mighty Thor, because if this goes wrong, I don't know what else I have. And
Still by revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love Thor's arc too.
it plays well perfectly leading into his mental state in Endgame. Because like he was holding on to this. But I love his monologue in regards to like all the enemies he's ever faced, and then he's just like, well, fate wills it so, and like he's still holding on to the fact that he's Thor. And he's a god in a sense, but deep inside there's so much grief, and there's still I'd argue there's still a bit of doubt in him because he's still relying on Stormbreaker, another power, but like obviously he has to, especially when it comes to Thanos. But yeah, I mean, you see what he goes through to get Stormbreaker, almost literally killing himself. Like he's still showcasing that there's a lot more to Thor than these weapons and whatnot. But I really like. I didn't really recognize how much grief each character had until watching WandaVision, because then I looked to what the things that Wanda had gone through, and she lost Vision in this movie, and that was like that scene hit a bit more harder this time round.
Yeah.
And then even Gamora, like I didn't really notice before that she cried when she kills, or she thinks she kills Thanos.
Yeah.
And they have a great moment with one another, following on from that when he drops her off the cliff, which is like a very deep scene, because you see that Thanos, there's a human element to him in that he actually loved Gamora. Like, and then they even joke about it when Chris Pratt talks about his dad to Star-Lord talks about his dad to Thor, and like all that jazz. It's just like there's so much aspects of grief that all these characters have faced, and it's crazy. It leads to this moment where they come together and are essentially comparing their grief with one another.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into it, but I think before WandaVision, I would have spoken a lot more about Vision and Scarlet Witch in this, but because of WandaVision, like that's really topped what's going on in this movie with them. So it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, that like it's still amazing, but WandaVision really brought that out a lot more. So looking back at them, like, yeah, I like that, but like that's like the base of a really nice cake that comes out in WandaVision. Like,
yeah, that's true. But like, I will say a lot of the relationships we said we didn't necessarily care about, we cared about in this movie, like between Star-Lord and Gamora, even Gamora and Nebula, Vision and Wanda in a way.
Thor and Rocket. As like a friendship.
I wish you wouldn't think have happened at all.
Yeah.
We're sort of all dying to see Iron Man and Cap get back together at some point too.
Yeah,
we didn't get that either.
Well, that I remember thinking the whole time, like, are they gonna make up in this movie? Like, when is that moment gonna happen? And when it didn't happen, that was like one of the things that was bothering me as well. I was like, oh, they're not friends yet. Come on. But
yeah. You're not sliding into the DM. What's going on?
Use the flip phone.
No, but even Raccoon's got a lot of demons. Legit, like he masks his trauma with all his humor.
Yeah,
like, and you don't really get they don't get too far into his past, really.
Not yet.
But not yet. But yeah, like but yeah, he's like the number one for masking his demons. Like you can just tell.
Yeah, well, we saw it in Guardians 1, but it was interesting that when he saw Thor in that kind of moment of despair, he chose to say something to him. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
And gave him the eye. That was a pretty good scene. I love that.
Rabbit.
Yeah. Oh god, that's so good. Rabbit.
Okay, we'll move forward towards the angry parts that made you angry. Grant, were there any?
Okay, well, there's two parts.
Oh, bad.
For all that, and that's Mr. Star-Lord. At the end, Thanos. That's like the ultimate. Like, I wanted to slap him through the screen. Like, you literally just, if you just handled your shit, this could have been all over. Like, I don't know why, but don't forget, this is after Doctor Strange has said there's only one way, so that had to happen. That's the only comfort I find. The fact that Thor decided to have a D&M with Thanos instead of chop his head off, that's another thing that makes me angry. Because Thor technically defeated Thanos. He was one hit away from smacking him out and see you later.
Oops. It was Stormbreaker.
Yeah, like, it's like if you watch Mortal Kombat, effing whoops. Like, just hit him in the head, mate. But no, that made me, the Star-Lord scene literally grinded my gears for months after. Like, I hated him as an actor even. Like, I took it personal. I was like, you literally just killed half the MCU because you couldn't handle your shit. take his neck, relax. Like, yeah. So that's my anger for you.
It'll be interesting if they play on that at all in the next Guardians. Like, will there be any guilt?
It's Doctor Strange's vision. It had to happen. That's
Yeah.
That's how you got to look at it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. But like, still, it'll be interesting.
Mhm.
All right. Malika, not enough Hulk or something?
Yeah, definitely not enough Hulk. Adding
Thank God.
obviously the two that Grant said, I think they annoyed everyone. And then actually just going off cinema sins, how off the power scaling was in this movie. Like it's all over the place.
I got a rebuttal to that, but continue.
What is it? Just say it.
Well, if you look at issue 52, no, I'm joking. But seriousness, if you probably, I don't know if you're referring to this, but you're referring to Thanos. I think the reason why he changes his abilities is because it's like they established at the beginning when he's fighting Hulk, and the Black Order is like, no, let him have his fun. As in, he doesn't take them seriously, and he's like, all right, look, I'm going to let you have your fun, so I'm going to just chill out, and he's basically walking through this whole process and just being chilled. But when they actually start to get under his gears and make him feel like he's going to lose, that's when he's like, all right, I'm turning up the heat, and that's when he starts showing his powers more. So you might be, okay.
That probably plays a part, but then he like annihilates Hulk, Loki, and Thor, but then somehow Captain America can hold his punch.
Oh, I got a rebuttal to that.
No, there's no rebuttal to that. That's just, and that's with him having more stone.
No, but like
at the beginning,
that moment he was shocked because he thought it'd be easier than it was. Like we all know he could obliterate Cap, and he literally did in that moment. He gave him a little left hook, and Cap was gone for like 2 more movies. But like, he wasn't really trying. He just thought Cap was a guy, so he was just like, oh, he can hold me. Like it wasn't anything. Yeah.
Do you guys watch like UFC boxing and like, I don't know, Mark, you even did Muay Thai or stuff. Is there stuff where it's like, I don't know, if the fighter thinks he's good enough, he will like, oh, I'll toy with you a bit before I demolish you?
Yeah, definitely.
We already did a podcast on Malika's stick fighting after the movie. Mark, I was really sorry to hear about your master too. I didn't know about that.
It was like 5, 6.
I literally didn't know about it. I probably forgot it. # early onset dementia.
Horrible.
But,
and probably the Black Order, I would have liked to have seen more. Wait, is it this movie or Endgame that they get destroyed?
Both.
Yeah, like you'd think that these guys are the top generals.
Yeah.
With Thanos, you'd think that they'd be like they are beast, but you'd think that they are like crazy good, but they still get wiped out pretty easy.
I agree with you there, but I didn't really find their characters interesting anyway. So like, like I didn't mind. Like it's similar to the Warriors 3, the Howling Commandos, all the other boy bands. Like nobody really.
I do like
we're not super invested anyway.
I like the way they were killed. I think they were pretty cool ways to like flying into space.
Bit dark.
Like literally puny Hulk killing one. That was Mark's proudest moment.
And then this is just a stupid one, but it was just like how they can use how the Wong and what's his name, Doctor Strange, they can close their little teleporting circles and they slice the guy's arm off.
Yeah.
And then like
Do that to everyone.
they never do it again. Like
Mark, is Banner in the big Iron Man outfit as close as you're going to get to Red Hulk?
nah, man, Red Hulk's coming in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Ross is going to be Red Hulk.
Is Logan coming too?
Logan Lerman?
No.
Yeah, that's just a stupid one. Like they could have sliced Thanos in half.
It's a valid point, actually.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know. That's all I can think of from the top of my head. And watching cinema sins.
So, all from Cinema Sins.
Pretty much.
We're gonna watch Cinema Sins and just like
It's like reading cliff notes for an essay.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, well, I never work for me.
David, angry.
Yeah. So for me, I think like coming into this film, I was excited because they were talking a lot about how with Captain America was going to be what it'll be like. Yeah, they're going to make it like what's he life like after being Captain America, and they were going to make it more. I forgot the name of the character, but he was going to be similar to another character that he takes on in the comics. Nomad, that's right, and he was going to embody that and be focused on him being Steve Rogers. Who is he outside that persona? And what's it like for him outside the law? And that lasted for 5 seconds. And straight up, it's like, all right, give him the shield. And that was one thing. I know they didn't have time to go into it, but that was something I was sad they couldn't go into. It only went as far as his beard, as like, oh, he's a different man now. Even though I liked, and the hair. Even though I liked Thor, I already said I really liked the changes they had made to him in Ragnarok, like taking away his hammer, take away his eye, and they gave that all back to him in this movie, which kind of undid all that to me in a way. I did enjoy aspects of his arc, but to be honest, I don't know. The whole thing with Peter Dinklage was not that interesting to me. Like the whole, you're about to take the force of a dying star. Like, oh, I don't know. Like it was interesting, and like props to Peter Dinklage. I'm glad that he didn't want to be typecast as a dwarf, so they made him really, really big. But the scene just, I don't know. But yeah, so I think those are my points.
Yeah. Well, I feel like even though, because he got those things back, like his eye and other acts, but he's still lost in a sense. So I still feel like it kept the point that it's not enough in a way.
Was that your rebuttal?
No, not really. It doesn't really, like, yeah, your point still stands. But yeah, all right, for me, negatives. I guess like this movie kind of ruins other movies for me. It's set too good of a standard, so it's hard to enjoy other films, which is not. It's kind of like a positive. Yeah, I actually wanted a little bit more of Hulk, but like, what more would they have like done with the Hulk? He would just like get beaten up again, or just be like another fight and just he lose again or something. I don't know. Like, yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with Malika as well. Like maybe they could have done more with the Black Order, but at the same time, I don't really care. I had one. Can't think of it.
Does Malika sleep?
No,
Sorry to interrupt. It's just like
he's trying really hard to remember.
sorry, bro. Keep going. Sorry.
Actually, one other negative.
Yeah.
Is where it was like sort of Vision and Gamora are keys to Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones. It was literally, why would you not just take Gamora to the other side of the universe and then have Vision on the other side? Like, they're literally in space with Gamora. Why not just fly the opposite way? If he never gets Gamora, he never gets that stone.
Mm.
And yeah, same with Vision. Literally just chuck him on a spaceship and off he goes.
Vision was so underpowered this whole.
But like, I'm trying to like not think of like plot negatives, but rather like what about the movie was like, creatively. I don't know. I can't really think.
It's sort of a good thing that you can't. Let's be honest. Like,
yeah, I guess that's it. All right, then we'll move on to MVP. Yeah, I'll start off. Easily Thanos. No question about. We've said everything about him. Dude has amazing dialogue. Josh Brolin lives a good performance. Plus, like David said, he's a CGI villain. It's pretty hard to connect with like a CGI in a sense. But Marvel's always been like quite good with their CGI, even in action scenes. So like they pulled off Thanos really well, capturing his emotions and whatnot. Plus, the guy succeeded in his mission. But like it wasn't without cost, so it still shows like the Avengers put up an effort, but like it wasn't enough at the end of the day. And plus, like I remember thinking at the end, I'm almost on Thanos' side. Like I can't not in that sadistic and want to kill half the universe, but like he's too good. Like how can you not like just like submit like you win, bro? And also he goes to the Philippines at the end of the movie to retire. So like I really respect that.
Yeah, I was filmed in Manila.
You see a lot of yourself in him, Zeets, huh?
Yeah, in some senses.
Listen, he's no Steppenwolf. Let's be honest.
Hey, Steppenwolf was great in. Okay, I'm not going there.
Yeah, but he's not Thanos. But yeah. Anyways, we won't go there yet.
No.
We still have.
Can I touch his up? His overall goal. It's not. The idea behind it is actually not that off base. The way he wants to do it's very off base. But like the idea of a world that's becoming very, well, a whole galaxy in their sense, but becoming very sort of populated and shit, would be fixed with genocide. But
yeah, I get what you mean. Like there are definitely
the
people
way he wants to do it's very bad, but in a weird way, if you're living in a barbaric world, that would make sense.
Yeah,
He's not a.
Titan was like most
This is
planets.
controversial. He's not a Hitler in the sense of like what
like he
Well,
targets
Hitler's-
certain races.
Extinction I offered.
Hitler's
Yeah,
targets
but-
certain races.
Hitler was. I don't know.
Genocide.
Yes, Thanos is deluded, but
Random.
you can see
Was
the reasoning
passionate,
behind.
very
While
rigid,
Hitler's reasoning
warlike.
was just way off completely. Yeah. So yeah. So Thanos is non-discriminatory, while Hitler was. I don't know why I'm comparing Thanos to Hitler, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Thanos, my MVP. Like honorable mention to Doctor Strange. Like in regards to the Avengers, like movie and like who of the heroes kind of carried it for me. Iron Man put up a great fight, no doubt, but Iron Man's always like my favorite. But Doctor Strange is the reason that there is an Endgame. Like they have a bit of hope. But like obviously the Avengers didn't know about that, but we as fans did because 1 in 14,605 chance of success was like what it is, what it be, what it do. All right.
Okay, calm down, Buster Rhymes.
Malika, your MVP.
Oh,
My
Monica.
MVP, my MVP. If there was more Hulk, I'd say Hulk. But Doctor Strange is an honorable mention, like you said. I love being able to see Doctor Strange like being just a beast, how he should be, as powerful as he should be. I probably will. This is an MVP I've chosen before. I will go Black Panther for this. He sets up the final thing. He gets everything into Wakanda. And it's just like setting up the whole scene. And then when he opens, he opens a little bit of the little force field. Then all the Wakandans are in there. It would have been a very different battle if all the Wakandans weren't there helping out. I also just love Black Panther. And still that running scene.
They're helping out.
That
Not
running
casual.
scene is
It is
still
there
right up
helping
there.
He had 3.5 minutes of screen time.
Doesn't matter. It leaves that 3.5
Peace, by the
minutes
way.
left one of the best
Just saying.
impressions.
Oh yeah, rest in peace for sure.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And it showed you how beast he was. As he's running, you've got all the other Avengers and things. And he just tears straight from them.
All
Who
right,
do you think will win a race though, Cap or Black?
Black Cat.
Cap or black?
Yeah. I heard that. I was like, what?
If I can shorten one, why can't I shorten the other? All right. The double standards here. Yeah, I think, okay. I'm not going to say any more because I'll get in trouble.
Controversial discussions with the boys.
yeah.
So all right, Malika, T'Challa, your MVP.
T'Challa.
All right, Grant, who's your MVP
Well,
for Infinity War?
bit of a shake-up. Thor was, I guess, you know what? Everyone's going to say, oh yeah, Thor, because of that scene where he returns, which obviously is one of my favourite scenes in the MCU, because everyone's finally realising that he is the strongest Avenger. But also, just his character development through even just this film alone was massive. And you got to see, obviously coming out of Ragnarok, he had that little bit more of a humor side to him, so he wasn't. But you actually really started to see that more serious, traumatized side come back through every now and again when he was talking about his past.
I'm
And
1,500 years old.
and I was like, wow, this
Still
bloke's
twice as
been through the
many enemies
ringer.
as that,
Like,
and every one of
he's
them
literally
vowed
lost
to kill
everybody.
me, but none succeeded.
And obviously he's competing a little bit with Star-Lord, like who's lost more and who's more affected. Like one of my favourite quotes, I know we're not quotes yet, but I'm not going to use it, is when he sort of goes up to Gamora and just goes, families are tough.
Yeah.
Like it's such a common everyday line, but it's being used in a galactic scale, like to describe events that have happened across the last 10 years.
Yeah, I actually quite like that bit.
Yeah. And it sort of just made it feel more real, his pain as well. But yeah, in terms of MVP, you can't look past that scene where he comes back. Just his whole thing, like even the way he sort of brings the Neverlear back to life and all that sort of stuff. That passion he showed throughout the whole film to get to the point where he had to be, it showed such a drive and determination. And end of the day, if he didn't get his ass to Wakanda when he did, they might have been finished before it even started. So, yeah.
Yeah, he played a big part.
Yeah, one of the biggest parts for sure.
All right, David, MVP.
So my MVP, whatever
VPN.
it is. My VPN, keeping up with Kardashians, is Iron Man. Again, this film, it's another part in that his whole story of pretty much he's living in Robin. He's pretty much living in a limbo between this life and heaven, in the sense of this is the time for him to right his wrongs and to have a redemption and to do the ultimate act. And you see the lead up in this, especially in the scene between him and Thanos, which is powerful on Thanos' end, but it's also powerful on his end with the entire... What's on your screen?
Top 3 screen times in the movie: Thanos, Gamora, and Iron Man.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, like you have the whole scene where Thanos stabs Tony, and then Thanos does his whole thing of, you have my sympathy, Stark. I hope they remember you. And even though that is such a powerful thing, chilling thing from Thanos, because it's like, this guy is literally killing you, and he's sympathizing with you. You kind of, I think that. Sorry.
Let me say you have my respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my
it.
respect, Stark.
Yeah, but like I think you capture in that moment, because this is happening right before everyone's about to be dusted. I think this is that moment where Tony has a lot more clarity of where his mission is going to go, where he actually has to, even though he doesn't die in the scene, he has to face the idea of death, and he has to face the idea of the death around him. And even that scene where he's just sitting there with his hands up to here after Spider-Man, it's very reminiscent of what happened in the Age of Ultron, when he has that vision as to be like, wow, it came to pass. But even though I was prepared for it, this is affecting me way more than I ever thought it was going to. So it's a very interesting arc for him. And even like, I love how it starts off. He's just going for a jog with his wife, talking about the idea of having a future child. And it's just interesting because it's this constant thing with him of like, he wants to live that normal life. He wants to have this life with Pepper, but he knows subconsciously he's been preparing for something his whole life. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like the Grim Reapers come calling when Doctor Strange comes to Stark, I need you back. And I'll go more into it in Endgame, but yeah, that's why I would say
he even says this is it.
Yeah,
like when Ben is talking to him, he's like, "This is it."
Yeah,
he knew it was coming.
So yeah, that's why he's my VPN.
Like a good VPN,
right?
Yeah,
Segwayments and VPNs. Where's this going?
Hashtag keeping up with the Kardashians.
Great choice. I can't argue with that one, and not just because of bias. Like these are essentially built on from Iron Man onwards. So Tony Stark is a big face, all the movies. But I guess moving on from that, we'll move on to our Master Assassins.
This is Loki.
we'll try and keep it limited to
Monsters
one
and
each so that
magic
we don't
and
go
nothing we were
too
ever
crazy
trained
into
for.
time. But honorable mention to T'Challa for sure, because entering Wakanda, the excitement coming off Black Panther was great, and it obviously played a big role. But like for me, Master Assassin that I would want to focus on is Gamora. I really liked the element she added to Thanos's character. I think she was just like that extra element of the humanity and care within him that you wouldn't expect from a villain like him, because you just think he's sadistic or he's deluded. But yeah, I also like, one of my favorite lines from her is, "I hate that chair," and she pegs a plate at Thanos' chair, which is Malika's favorite
I always
weapon from
hated
Phase
that
1.
chair.
So yeah.
Call back to the chair.
Woo! Zeta throwing shade.
Hey, it's a powerful chair.
Yeah, well, she hates it.
It's because she never got to sit on
It's Mark's office chair now.
it.
All right, Grant, your Master Assassin.
Oh shit! I totally so I'm chewing. I totally forget what this is. What's this about? The Master Assassin?
Like a side character or any other character that you reckon was like kind of underrated, or
Or you can even just talk about Assassin's Creed if you have nothing to
I'm actually
say.
going to say Black Widow.
yeah, right.
She's not alone.
Only because I understand she's been just like your normal, no powers or anything throughout the whole time. She literally holds her own in this massive battle for advanced people. And like, I know people come to her rescue or whatever, like, but I think as a character, she's literally managed to keep relevance amongst all these powerful gods and people and aliens and villains. She's still there. She's still liked by fans. And I think the fact that you can literally be still drawn to a character that's got, I'll say, less interest is pretty incredible. David, nice. But yeah, so she'll be my Master Assassin, which she is. So
Yeah, she actually is a Master Assassin.
yeah, exactly.
She plays a huge part in Endgame, but
Spoilers.
yeah, she dies. Spoiler.
Oh,
What?
All right, David, your Master Assassin.
I know Black Widow is supposed to not lead on from Endgame, but I'm just imagining the start of Black Widow. She just gets up and just like hobbles off with like a broken back or something. I don't know.
because
Yeah.
it's the next movie.
Well, just a slight bit of blood loss, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Wait, still got a movie to do.
Yeah. My one is, okay, this is a weird choice, but I'm actually going Red Skull because
You're mad.
props to the man. You know, here is this guy who's like, okay, I am the villain from the World War II. What am I going to do now? Hey, I already look like a skeleton. I'm just going to be the Grim Reaper. Why not? Like, so he chucks on a cloak, gets on that planet, even though he was forced to by the Cosmic Cube, but hey, that's life. And he just spends his life just waiting for someone to rock up so he can quote that line. And yeah, just props to him. Like,
Bro, did you write this?
what?
That's the exact thought process I went through.
Mate, I'm just inside your head. But many times I think, I'm like,
David Russo.
what does he do? Like, I imagine he probably just been sitting there since 1945. Like, I really hope someone rocks up because I've been practicing these lines over and over again in my head.
He's probably got a basketball hoop in the back and an Xbox. He's probably chilling.
I remember that was one of the things we were talking about heaps, though. That Red Skull was in there as this weird Dementor character.
Yeah, it's like, why is
Yeah.
it there?
Actually, that's one of my angry points, that it wasn't Hugo Weaving, but I think that was on him because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, there was a big kerfuffle about that. But the guy was convincing. Like, he sounded like Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, up until this very moment, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I never
Not a
knew
true fan.
otherwise.
Spoilers.
Bro, like, I don't think I can go on.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. That's
All right.
it. Yeah.
Malika.
Malika.
Master Assassin.
Malika.
I actually have no idea, right?
Do You can't choose
Actually
Black Panther
forgot-
again.
I forgot
What?
that this was one of the segments.
Bruce Banner for sure.
Oh, if you don't have one, it's cool.
Who is one? Who is one?
Hawkeye. Oh wait, sorry.
There's so many that can be like, because
I
there's
like
all
to
the ones
rebuttal.
that get. No, there's all the ones that get such minor parts, like
Monster Alien number 3.
first one to die.
That's what we get through.
Yeah, so
Like-
his determination to try and get through the barrier. Props.
Like you've got Scarlet Witch, who plays a massive part in that battle. She against the Black Order. You've even got the Dora Milaje as a group that are just beasts.
Yeah.
Like they're just normal humans as well, but they go up against aliens, and they get thrown into this battle.
Even M'Baku was great.
Yeah, like it's just these normal people thrown into a galactic battle where they've just been chilling in Wakanda for the past few decades, and the world has barely known about them.
I love that they're all ready to die. Like they know it's like it's pretty much a hopeless situation, but like, you know, we'll just do it. Let's just do it.
and
you got-
they're willing to follow T'Challa. Like
Yeah.
just because he said we're doing it, they're like, cool, man, let's go into
Hey,
battle.
it's very rare too. You'll
awesome.
see a king lead from the front. Usually, most wars, the king's chilling up the back.
Like
Yeah.
Killmonger.
A king up front going head first. Of course, you're going to want to follow him in.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Hawkeye, like even though you said it, Grant, as a joke, Hawkeye in a similar sense to,
He wasn't in this movie.
isn't he?
No.
That's why I said him.
Oh, I can't remember, bro. I told you I haven't seen it since it came out.
Bro, it shows how relevant he is that you forgot he wasn't in it.
He was mentioned. He was mentioned at least.
Yeah.
That's why he's an MVP. He was in the background just setting stuff up.
Ant-Man was in it. We
getting
just
Ronan.
couldn't see him.
That's one of the best moments of my life. That was so good.
He was in the background shooting arrows from like a kilometre away. Had the sniper scope on.
Oh, man.
Also, quick thing. You know how the whole thing about with Ross, how Ross is like, you know, completely being,
Rick Ross?
I don't know. No,
Which Ross?
I was waiting for that.
Thunderbolt Ross, when he's like, oh yeah, arrest them, and then Rhodey turns it off and is like, that's a court martial. Is he going to get a court martial? Like, is like in Armored Wars, is it going to start off with him in a court martial? Because, like, yeah, I don't know.
Actually, that's
Like, I feel-
one. Sorry, that's one interesting thing to explore, because in Falcon and Winter Soldier we explored the financial situation of people who snapped and not snapped.
Yeah, and then how Power
like,
Broker,
yeah.
yeah.
The Registration Act, is it still a thing?
Yeah.
After all this, yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but can you imagine, like, let's just say Ross will snap. I don't know if he will snap. Imagine he just comes back and the first thing he thinks is, I'm going to
Arrest.
court martial Rhodey.
Sweaty.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Did anyone another sidetrack? When I was excited when T'Challa was like, "Get this man a shield," and then
Bro,
We
you
see-
stole my quote.
we see Cap with those weapons, and I'm like, "Where's the shield?"
Yeah.
Gauntlets. weren't
I
they?
mean, yeah. I mean, they were still obviously they're vibranium, so they were cool. But I was just like, I guess I was expecting like a shield.
Maybe the cut scene was, you know, get this man a shield, and the person said no. But they're like, oh, we'll just
We don't do that.
Yeah, but they were clearly intended for offensive. So you saw Cap literally just like stabbing everything in his way. So
yeah.
It was pretty cool to see him without the shield, though. Like,
oh yeah,
besides the beard and the hair, that was a major difference.
I think GSP said it in Winter Soldier. If you've left, which means I thought you were more than just a shield.
What the?
Oh, George St. Pierre.
I
It took me a while.
You're living a secret life.
made that up. I'm sorry.
You know his
Like that.
name in the Winter Soldier, right?
Batroc, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
Batroc.
GSP.
All right.
VPN.
All right. We finally hit the end game. We jump straight into it. Grant, what is your righteous quote and your Tobey Maguire rating?
Oh my god. Oh, there's too many quotes.
Yeah, right.
I like when I do like when Thanos says perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Because that's like back to my point before. He makes sense. Like, unfortunately, and I think that's what draws you to him. Is he? Thanks, Sarah. Is he actually? A lot of things he says in a crazy way makes sense, and you're like, why am I vibing you right now? Why am I not hating you right now? Like, why do I understand you? Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's my quote. And honorable mention is kick names, take ass. Really like that quote. Only because you're literally about to fight to save the universe. And Marvel goes and throws in the most funniest and cheesy quote to break up all that tension. I think that's just classic Marvel, and it's always done so well with the humor. They got nothing on Justice League, but that's okay. But yeah, nah. Let's go with Tobey Maguire's. Oh my God. Infinity War. I'm going to give it 9.8 Toby's.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Solid.
Yeah, well, solid film.
All right. Malika, quote and Tobey Maguire rating.
All right, quote. Going off one of our previous runner-up MVPs, from the man Doctor Strange himself.
Yeah, nice.
We're in the Endgame now.
We're in the Endgame now.
That the time that it comes is so critical in the movie. Like, everyone was watching that movie going, this is intense. But like no one knew exactly where it was going. And then he drops that line on us. And like no one really knew that it was just Marvel doing their little play on what the next movie would be called. But at that point you just realise that, oh crap, things are really serious right now in the Marvel, like for all the characters. Like I think at that point we still thought that things might turn out okay, not realising that it wouldn't. But then that quote from Doctor Strange, who's seen all the futures and everything, and he comes out with that line, being one of the most powerful of the Avengers, and all the things that he has at his disposal. He says that, and it's like, yeah, we should be worried now.
Yeah.
And like he says it to Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
like, why'd you do that? After he gives him the time stone.
Yeah, and then like you realise from there, it's like he's saying that to Stark, like this is getting serious.
Yeah, but also he knows. He already knows.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Like I think, and like the rest of, we thought they were going to win, and probably the Avengers were like, oh yes, cool, you know, we're still going to win. Like we've got all these beasts on our side. We've got Thor, we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy, we've got Captain America, T'Challa, all of these guys. But then he says that, and it turns it around completely.
You know what, Mark?
That's my line. Yeah.
Like, quote, because I remember when I heard that, I actually got upset because I was like, you know what? This is actually coming. All these build up and all these films I've loved for so many years are coming to an end inevitably. Yeah. And it fucked up all that. I was like, oh shit! We are actually at the end of the road. And I was already thinking before Endgame, what's next? What are we going to do? What are we going to watch? How are we going to survive? Like, literally, this is what was going through my head. Like, so it is a very big line.
All right.
My Maguires. I haven't given my Toby's.
Yeah.
Toby's
out of Maguire's.
Yeah.
We need both.
What did I give Black Panther?
Gave it pretty high from what I remember.
I think I gave it 9 point something.
Yeah.
9.3 was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I do like this more than that.
Yes,
I'll say
he likes this one.
I'll say 9.5 Toby's out of Maguire's.
Nice. Very
9
nice.
Toby's out of half Maguire's.
Don't even. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's like broken the scale. All right, nice. All right, David, your quote and Tobey Maguire rating.
Okay, well, I'm going to start by explaining what is a concussion. So, no, I'm not going to
Please
deep dive on that.
Please. I actually want to
We
know.
have the time now.
Yes. So my one is when Tony walks out and says, "I'm sorry, Earth is closed."
I'm sorry, Earth is
I love
closed today. You better
To,
pack it
to
up
be honest, that
and
could
get
easily just
outta
came off
here.
as a cheap quip.
Means
But
get
you
lost,
it's funny
Squidward.
because he's actually half being serious. Like even though he's making a joke, he's generally saying, "Please, you need to go." But he's just being funny about it. And you just love it because it's the first taste these aliens are getting of what they're doing with, and you just see their reaction. Like they've been going to all these worlds, making these giant speeches, and everyone's listening in horror. Then they'll eventually die. Then they rock up, and this guy's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Earth is closed," and they're looking like, "What? Why? What's going on?"
Yeah.
And he calls him
So-
stupid.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's it. That's my one.
It,
And my Tobey Maguire, sorry,
Okay.
my Tobey Maguire rating is at the moment it's 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 Tobies. Great, your face.
What did you give Guardians to?
What did I give Guardians to?
I have no
I
idea.
gave it a 7, I think.
A movie that deserves about a 5.
Uh,
Your scale, your ratings are like the power scale in this movie. They're freaking all over the place.
I'm more. I feel like I'm more speechless now than I was when I walked out of
and
that film.
he has this. He has this movie. He has this movie
What?
fit, so 8.
You guys seem to think if it's below a 9, it's crap. Like,
Well,
Correct.
bro, are you high?
All right.
Higher than the score he gave this movie.
Oh my god!
you gotta
that
hate
would
what
be
I'm gonna
hard.
give. You gotta hate what I give Endgame. I'm kidding. No, I'm just.
Endgame's 4th, so it has to be higher than 8.
It would be like 8.2.
But it's got to be less than 9 because Winter Soldier is not 2nd, and he gave that a 9.
What's his first?
Thor Ragnarok,
What did you give that?
8 point. Nah, I don't know.
No, I gave it. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 9.
All right.
I either gave it a 9 or a 9.5. I gave that one pretty high.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
I was.
Nah, look, it's your opinion, man, and
That's what you say when you're triggered at someone. Look, it's your opinion. I'm gonna go have a few beers and forget about this. But
Yeah. I kind of get it because he's comparing it to movies outside of the MCU as well, so it's still.
I think it's also, and I'll go into this later, but this leads in. This is basically the prequel to Endgame to me. So to me, this is an incomplete film in that regard. While Endgame to me feels like a more complete film, as in from start to finish. Well, this one's more. I don't want to say it's filler because it is quality in what it's done, but just the way it's set up, it's really a bridge to get to where, and you need that. So yeah.
So if you saw Infinity War walking around a nightclub, you'd say solid 8. Come on.
He would. Solid 8 Tobies.
Yeah, but like, I still I'll be leaving the club being in silence. I'll be in silence, just walking away, getting to my car. Like, what just happened? So
we can't let it go. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's yeah.
Earth is closed today.
Yeah, that's okay.
I still think 8 is good. Like,
yeah. All right.
What's the lowest rating you've given, Grant?
I don't know, but like I can't.
I think it was like 4.5 for Guardians too.
Yeah, or Far From Home was one of my lowest ones too.
Yeah.
You must have really hated Far From Home. If you
thought it was, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to get to that film
You
eventually.
gave Guardians to a 4.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
so you're. So
well,
you
based on
could
your
take Guardians
scale, that must
times
be
it by
rubbish. Yeah. Grant's paused on my screen.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
On mine.
Basically, you're saying Infinity War is only 2 times better than Guardians 2.
Yep.
Somehow I
But David likes Guardians.
Anyway, that's okay. Honestly,
I like Guardians too.
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to tell you what you should rate things. All right.
That's what you said 4 minutes ago before this whole thing started.
But
I still agree. Anyone but you, I'd be upset. You're lucky you're you. You know.
Yeah, but you say that to everyone. You say, look, if it was anyone else, I'll be upset. But because it's you, like,
I'm just a nice guy.
oh, thanks, Grant. Do you,
Yeah.
do you want to have, like, I don't know.
You're
like,
wrong.
what-
You're wrong. But I'm a nice guy.
Okay.
Alright,
Nah, I respect the 8. That's a bold move.
okay.
I'm going to be torn to shreds on Endgame.
Zeta's like, I don't know what to rate it.
Oh, I know what to rate it. We'll get to mine just so that we save David from more roasting.
I'm going to get roasted in Endgame.
Yeah, you're lucky Josh and Chance aren't here. They won't hold back. Well, Josh probably won't hold back.
No.
All right, so honorable mention to what David said before about the "You have my respects, Dark. When I'm done, half of humanity." Yeah, that I like that quote, not only because it praises Tony Stark, but Thanos, this all-powerful being, is acknowledging this little man in a tin suit, which, like, to me is just like, yes. And then honorable mention as well to the perfectly balanced quote, which I feel like is this movie. It's contrary to David's 8 out of 10.
Oh my God.
I find it perfectly balanced in regards to plot, humor, action, keeping me engaged and whatnot. But yeah, the quote I'm going for is Thanos' whole quote in regards to failure.
I know what it's
like how he knows what it's like. I'm not gonna. Should I read the whole thing, or
Feel so
do we know
desperately
it?
that you're right.
We know it.
We know it.
Fail.
All right, cool. So
The
yeah,
audience knows it. Yeah.
David, your podcast sensations nickname as well.
the highlight of the quote,
Read it.
other than knowing
What's
what.
my
Run
nickname?
from it.
Sorry, Rob, keep
Destiny
talking.
arrives all the same.
Oh wait, Mr. Hot Take. All right. Where was I? Yeah,
should
the
I
highlights
say?
in regards to it is like the knowing the feeling of failure, which like I guess is Thanos' drive because he knows what it's like to have failed, so he's very driven. But then he goes on to say, to what end? Like where do you go eventually? Wait, is this from Infinity? Yeah, it is because it's at the beginning. Sorry, my brain. Anyway, he says destiny arrives all the same, and now it's here. Or should I say I am? Similar to our approach to this movie. This movie is finally freaking here. So is Thanos in that moment. All this payoff for this moment. Crazy villain, crazy movie. We get it here, and yeah, that's the quote for me. Tobey Maguire's out of 10. My scaling for these ratings, I'm not going to be like, I haven't considered movies outside of the MCU. So this for me is in the upper echelon. It's at the top. It's 10 out of 10.
No, you did that because
Yeah.
you knew Grant was going to roast you. I know how this works.
No,
This is
was-
Trump. This is Trump and Biden all over again.
These two
I didn't
movies.
know. I didn't know you were ranking it against other films. Like,
We,
if
we
I
never,
knew that, I would have.
we never had a clear rating system in the first place. So what people say are just going to be like, you don't rely on it at all, essentially.
Rotten
Take
Tomatoes
our
rates it 80. Rotten Tomatoes rates it 85%. So, and the audience rates it 91. So I'm the tomato meter in this scenario.
Yours is lower.
I am the.
2% lower. But yeah, well, in regards to just the MCU movies, this and Endgame are at the top. They're the 10 out of 10 movies within the MCU. They're just, to me, they're the ones. So 10 Tobey Maguires out of 10 Tobey Maguires, even though Tobey Maguire, oh wait, actually he's about to be in the MCU, so never mind.
What did you rate? What did you rate Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I think I gave it close to an 8. No, I gave it 8.5 or something.
Oh, so it must be bad then. It must be terrible.
No, because I didn't give it an 8.
What did I give? I think I gave it a 6.
8.5.
I think I gave it a 6.5.
Yeah, I don't care.
What?
I don't care what
Zack Snyder's?
Yeah,
Malik hasn't watched it.
Go up like 50 comments in the chat thread. That's why I
Yeah, I
say I
remember.
give it my score.
Yeah, no, Malika's was pretty low, from what I remember, but it's also relatively high considering I was thinking he'd probably give it like a 4.3 or something.
Which is what I gave the first one.
are you ranking that in the DC universe or ranking against all other films?
Against all other films.
I'm ranking it against
No, just as a
everything in
movie.
life. I'm
Oh, wait,
ranking
no.
it against. I'm ranking it against NBA games, against British Premier League. I'm ranking it against everything.
Hey, David, what do you?
That's what a
what do you,
Tobey Maguire rating is.
what do you rank this podcast?
This podcast. I'm just going to say everything's 10 out of 10 now, Grant.
Ah,
I'm playing it safe. This is 10 out of 10 IGN.
That's the reason I had these movies outside in the rankings, because they were the tens. But yeah.
actually, I do remember that. Yeah.
All right. I think that effectively ends our podcast. I'm sorry if this seemed a bit rushed, but like at the same time, I feel like we got there wasn't heaps to say about this movie because it's crazy good. It's an 8 out of 10 apparently. But
Personal attack with the boys. All these
Infinity War, solid A.
Solid.
But yeah, that's our discussions on Infinity War. I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp next, so that'll be an interesting one.
Great.
I rank that pretty high. So you
That's
guys gotta hate me. Solid 9. Solid 9.
All right, follow us on all our socials. We'll keep you posted, keep you updated on those. Hopefully next time we can get all the boys in, especially for Endgame and our fantasy draft, which is always fun. All right.
It's going to be so difficult.
Yeah. Mine's been changing every movie. But yeah,
It's
anyways.
going to be like 8 out of 10 difficult.
Oh, do you reckon our choices? I know it's just slightly off topic, but do you reckon our choices are going to be influenced by the shows we are currently watching?
Yeah. No, for me, definitely.
Nah, because everything I'm going to choose is going to be related to Iron Man somehow.
No bias.
Except for the hero.
Well, Zeta, I'm going to give you a challenge. You have to do everything but Iron Man.
I'll lose it. All right.
If it's like the first category, Iron Man, crap.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, I didn't snap it. There you go.
And we're all like different timings.
I rate
We're real in sync.
A solid 8, Greg. You
Eight
rated a
snaps.
solid 8.
You think it was a dream, or is it possible that you really saw my mom down there?
I'm not sure. I can't be here. I can't be here. I'm under house arrest.